Well, we are officially live on Sweet Tea with Emily. Thank you guys so much for being here. We have Mr. and Mrs. Bradshaw. Hello, hello, welcome.
Hi.
I'm so glad that y'all are here. And
Hi.
you are in different countries.
Different continents.
So,
I am joining live from India.
I know. And what time is it there?
It is 10 p.m.
Oh my goodness, exactly 12 hours. What time do you typically go to bed? Are you staying up
now.
late? Okay, you're staying up late for us.
I have stuff stuck to my eyelids so that if I blink, I don't fall asleep. No, I'm
She's
kidding.
in her nightie right now.
Hopefully I don't put her to sleep on this, right?
I'm in my business attire. No. Yeah, you can't. You're so lovely. I loved hearing all these other episodes that you've done. You've such a great personality, Emily. Thank you so much for having us. It almost feels like you're so good at this that, you're chatting with a friend and you have such a great vibe. You're professional when it needs to be and you're fun. So I was very excited to be here.
Oh my goodness. That's saying something coming from you, seeing all the incredible international stages you have taken, which we are absolutely going to get into. I will try really hard to give Jon a little bit of the spotlight, but we all know I'm really fascinated with you. And I'm so proud of Jon for marrying you. That's one of the main reasons why I like Jon. So you did really good, Jon. Did really good. All right, before we dive in, what can I get y'all to drink?
Ooh, Jon's drinking something. Tell us, what are you drinking?
It's just a green tea from Trader Joe's.
Love it. He's all in
I would like
health kick since
no
October.
Sugar.
No sugar.
Good job. Good job. He has been really strong about it. I would like some root beer and some Diet Dr. Pepper. Something that you can only get in the US.
Have you ever had a root beer float? Put some ice cream in that?
Yes. Love that.
Gunjan, I love it. Jon's cringing. He's like, how dare you encourage the sugar?
You don't know what a root beer float is?
Huh?
You put ice cream in root beer?
Oh, Jon, you're pretending.
You can't. I can't catch on to those things. I really don't know if he actually doesn't know. But, yeah.
I know you. All right, Gunjan, I'm gonna pick on you first. I always make everyone introduce themselves, so be shameless. Tell us all the fascinating things about you and your background.
Oh, wow. Where do I start? So I had a background in journalism. I thought I wanted to become a politician, went into a newspaper office and realized this is not for me because they don't pay well. So I was like, I'm out of here. I quickly found my way in PR, media, and I think after a few years of working in the field, I took a little bit of a sabbatical and went on to win a smaller title in Miss India. It was called Miss India Supranational. Went for world finals, did a little bit of my career in, as a model, acting, hosting. In between that, I also was doing a lot of PR and marketing for a sports company for a couple of years. Went on to then host a sports league. And from there to a lot of Bollywood shows and, talking to Bollywood celebrities and actors about their movies coming up and tons of shows around makeover, fashion, and Bollywood. So that was everything before I moved to US. And I think we had an interesting journey of how I one day landed up in US, ended up getting married and stayed back. And I was working with Codebase back then, but it was in a very small role. It was only extended to media and marketing. And then soon I found myself, 100% at Codebase and figuring out this new co-founder role and wearing multiple hats, from hiring to marketing to all kinds of operations and stuff. So it has been a brand new world for me in the last few years.
Oh, I think they're so lucky to have you to bring that background and that perspective. Jon, tell me about your background and we'll kind of get into how Gunjan came into the picture and took things to the next level here in a minute.
My background, I've just been in the software space. Pretty easy peasy stuff, boring stuff. There we go. photographer by trade, found
Jon,
Gunjan on
you know,
Bumble.
you know everyone in Utah, and you're starting to even get national. Tell us a little bit more about the endeavors into, because it's more than just Codebase with you. It's
Everything you see
awards.
though is just it's Codebase. It's all connected. It's all about the sales approach that we have for building the business. I don't think we've ever done a cold outreach. It's been how can we add value in people's lives independent of Codebase, and that when people know that you care and that you want to help them succeed, and then they later find out about Codebase, usually they'll see trips of Gunjan and me with our devs in India. That's when they reach out, and those type of clients are amazing. Like clients that just choose you. Very rarely do we get in like these like I think we've never been in like a tough negotiation situation. It's always been we know Jon, we know Gunjan, and like let's make this work.
So they resonate with kind of more so who you are, your character and culture of the company before the nuts and bolts of the organization.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of sales is a lot more than just a website or than a TikTok account. They want to feel like they know someone, they have access. So we typically do really well here in the Utah market by people who want to outsource, build teams, things like that. But they recognize there's risks, there's unknowns, and that having like a guide that can help them through the process is typically a lot better off when you're trying to build, an international team.
Right, right. So first of all, tell me how y'all met. Tell me the story of how you guys' worlds collided. Tell me that.
Jon, do you want to take on that question?
You got it.
Should. We met on Mumble. I used to host a radio dating show on back in India, and I was clearly not looking for love, and I wanted my audience to actually, because in India we don't have the culture of dating, so I was like, if I don't go there and if I don't rate these dating apps, it's never going to happen. I can't be off brand about it. But I was very clear, like my dating profile said, I'm only going to take stories from here and put it on my radio show. So a lot of people were scared of like ever approaching me on those dating apps. But this man now sort of swears by that he never saw that disclaimer and went right in.
You don't believe him, do you? You don't believe him still to this day.
Guys don't read dating profiles.
They just look at the picture. Is that what you're saying?
You don't look at dating profiles.
You just right swipe.
I did. I just right swiped.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna right swipe on everybody who shows up. So yeah, that's how we met, and it was a rocky ride, and we didn't know what future had in store for us, but we took one day at a time, and the next thing we knew, we were dating for a couple of years, and then my Indian parents fell in love with him, and they were like, absolutely, we have no problem. We're very happy you found a boy. And, so.
Jon helped seal the deal with the parents. That is so smart.
Oh.
I didn't have the hard part. Like Gunjan could have been disowned. Most likely they would have said, you can't marry this foreigner, and it would have been game over.
Well,
like,
my dad was only interested. Yeah, my mom was like literally in tears, and she's like, if you're gonna tell dad, he's gonna break your heart. Because Indian parents, it's a different culture. They really don't want you to get married outside of the caste or culture, not a different nationality. So my mom was like, your heart's gonna be broken once you tell dad. And I was like, really? But I'm 32. And by then they were like, we're just happy you're getting married. We're just happy you have a boy. Is he tall? Okay. And my dad was literally like, is he tall? I was like, yes. Great. Lovely. Love this. Like he was sold. And by the time I showed him the picture, he was like, handsome too. Works.
Even better.
He thought I was an Indian male living in America.
Oh. Well, look at you passing off.
Yeah.
And I follow you guys on Instagram. Y'all are funny. And again, I know like you're hilarious. And you mentioned this, Gunjan, as far as how people are always commenting about your humor. You are in, pretty gorgeous, intelligent, but actually, I think that's the extra spark, is just the humor there. I do want to kind of talk about the dynamic of working with each other for a minute. I think of some other kind of Utah couples, right? And I always pick on Mackenzie Bauer over at Thread. I think her and her husband make working together look so lovely, and they bring out the best in each other. Kind of tell me how it's helped the business by working together and some of the things y'all have had to learn through it.
I want Jon to take that question.
I think you got this. You're a pro. Let's go.
This is what he does. This is what working with your partner looks like.
This is exactly pass. Jon, no, we're going to make you answer it.
Hard tasks, pass.
You're going to give us a 15-second answer. We're going to make you go first.
15-second? I gave you my 15-second answer. What's it like?
Tell me what it's like working with Gunjan and how it's improved the business.
She's a pro. You pass the ball and she receives it. Game over. Perfect.
She's always going to get the. She's always going to deliver, is what you're saying.
I can sleep in and she'll do the work. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Gunjan,
so far from the truth.
The
truth. Oh, that's the truth.
No, yes, I will. Because then, Jon, it's not flattering to hear what you just said. It almost sounds like the opposite of compliment. But I'm more direct than him, so it's no, but I think he's the hard worker. He definitely burns the midnight oil. He stays up till 3-4 a.m. and then he's back again at 7 a.m. meetings. For me, I think I had to find my groove just to talk the basics of the business. I think when we were starting in, he could push 16, 17 hours and I just couldn't. For me, it was I was losing my my gray cells, and I said I can't. And that's where I think, as a partner, building those healthy boundaries around what work's going to look like was a little bit challenging for us, because I constantly felt like if he's up and he's working, then I need to be, but my body would just crash at 9 p.m. And I was like, I don't think I can get on a call at 11 p.m. and, worry about something happening in India. But at the same point in time, while that wasn't my strong point, I feel like because the business is in India and we work with a lot of Indian talent and in the Indian cultural ways, and it's just a different way of doing business. So I would like to believe that that's where I came in and helped.
Well, and I think I agree. We just got a comment from Matthew Fox just saying how Jon's the visionary. And Jon, you don't take credit for kind of I think your hard work and how well known you are and how intelligent you are, which is one of the reasons why I appreciate you so much, is you are very humble.
I think I got a 16 on my ACT for the English section, so I don't think I'm that smart.
Yeah, you don't? Don't you think there's other, clearly, Jon, tell me about the size of the business. How much have you built it up to, and what's kind of what's the next plan? Where do you want to take it?
I think there's 2 people, Gunjan. Is that how big we are? We've got we have 30 engineers that we work with, and it's been great. We've done a lot in the venture capital space. A lot of VC-backed startups have been our bread and butter. We're focusing more now on the enterprise, and trying to, move a little bit more upstream to make sure we have a healthier mix of venture-backed and non-venture-backed businesses. And then we do a lot here volunteering with the local development meetup groups. Mm-hmm. Just anything we try to do is just how do we help grow the community? And the thought is that any space we enter into, I look at it as a 20-year commitment. So we volunteer with AWS Utah. Mm-hmm. And the plan is, you build the community for a year or two, and then, we expect things to happen. It's not like if things don't happen the first month, we're done.
You're in it for the long term, right? You tell me as far as, and I'd be really interested to know this because you're very, very tapped into the VC space, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your podcast for a minute. I know it's off the charts popular. Give me some tips and tricks about it. Tell me all the things behind the scenes on your podcast.
So we have a few different podcasts we run. The most popular one is venturecapital.fm. Mm-hmm. So if you go to www.venturecapital.fm, you can find it. Another one is howtostartabusiness.com. But the way I look at podcasting different from other people is I look at, say, what type of audience do I want to serve and grow? And that long term could be a really good partner for Codebase. So specifically for a VC podcast, I think if we can highlight and promote VCs, that will help us build relationships at scale with VCs. And so that will be a component. I think also if anyone's raised and they want to get publicity for their startup, that's where we can lead with service. And that the strategy is anyone we can interview could be a potential Codebase client. And so it allows us to open the door and no longer be about me, but hey, here's an opportunity that we have to help you. And if it's all we do, like, let's make you look your best. And then the strategy for growing it is there's been a lot of things we've done to grow it. The first thing is I look at the App Store, like Google search, like in 2001. A lot of podcasts we do, I look for top level like keyword searches that we can own. We use SEO tools to kind of like figure out what might be the most popular. And when we launched the Venture Capital podcast, we tested like startup investor and a few other terms. Mm-hmm. And we launched kind of like ghost shows. We just filmed like a 2-minute intro, just, hey, here's a podcast, here's the name. And then my belief is I don't want to launch a podcast unless it can get organic traffic out of the gate.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna look. I just love doing sweet tea because it's fun and I just enjoy it. But I've got to get together with you to help with the analytics, and it also is really good for my marketing person to use it to, recreate content and blogs and quotes and backlinking. So we use some strategy, but Jon, you have just taken it to totally next level.
There's pros and cons. They're like, I mean, like the con we have is from a brand. It's not a weak brand. It's a weak brand, but it's a strong search term.
Good.
But like good. Sweet Tea with Emily is a brand you can build. It just means you're going to, I think when people look at launching a podcast, there's two components. There's creating the content, but at least as much time you spend creating the content, you need to focus on distribution. And I think also with a podcast, you need to, for every hour you spend on a podcast, you need to spend 10x the time focusing on what my distribution strategy is. True. And that's what people forget. I think they just think it happens. So the branding strategy is kind of unique, but like it may not be the best for everyone.
Right. No, I just started as LinkedIn Live. Like, we broadcast.
Great. Like you got a stronger LinkedIn game than Gunjan and I do combined. So we should be taking lessons from you.
Gunjan, I am so curious about your perspective of coming, relocating, coming to Utah. What was your perspective of the business community here when you first arrived? And kind of give me some insight as to how they've supported you, embraced you, and maybe even some obstacles you've had to overcome. Give me your perspective of that.
Yeah.
I know.
That's a good question.
And you can say, pass, Emily. That's fair.
Yeah, I would love to give credit where it's due. And I feel like I think I've grown so much because almost everything you could apply business strategy to today. And I think I did not come from the entrepreneurial background while I could have used some of the same strategies there. I loved the lunching term that is very Utah specific. And I love that everybody's just so polite and so always ready to meet and discuss their ideas and test it out. And something that I don't think India has a very strong foothold in at the moment. Like you can't just go in and, ask for their time and go and chit chat unless you have those great connections. And so I think for me, that was a huge learning curve to understand how collaborations work. And of course, I think if I could toot my own husband's horn a little bit, I think I learned from him a little bit. He's just nodding his head. But the fact he just, he's a master networker. And I think his idea and philosophy, which I think he's very humble about, is like, if you're service to somebody else, they'll find a way to connect with you. And I think that is one of the best ways of, trying to have lifelong connections with people. Always be on on the front foot about how can you help others. So I don't think I've learned that much. I don't think I was a fast learner when I first came, because there was, just a lot to take in culturally, professionally. But I think Utah is a beautiful place to be at. And women are just, again, for me, where I come from, women have to make very difficult decisions about, choosing to have a family or work. But the fact that people in Utah can have very, very strong family values, but also say, hey, I could still live for myself and my dreams and my aspirations, and nothing has to be, has to take a backseat, which was again great for me.
Good. Well, I think you just hit the nail on the head as to why you and Jon work so well. John's the type of guy that will always come to the event and take pictures of others and promote others and cheer along others. And you, in your marriage, Gunjan, you give that energy back to Jon. And I think Jon gives it back to you in the sense of wanting you to kind of have the same type of stardom that you've had in India here in Utah. You've got such an amazing community that is cheering you on. And I loved that you did like the UVU. Was it Women to Watch? Is that what when you were pictured in the plane in your beautiful pink
Yes,
suit? Was that what that was?
that was the Utah Valley Business Magazine. Yeah, they were very kind to feature me on the 40 under 40 list.
I want to see like more of that. I think you got so much, like you've already come in and you've already kind of taken it by storm and people are making note and attention, but I think you have so much ahead of you. So big fan. I think Jon's going to keep pushing you in that direction. I'm going to do whatever I can to push you in that direction.
Oh, you're just the sweetest.
But like we are here for it all the way. All right. Let's go into our lightning round. Well, I have to ask, Jon, what's the future of Codebase? Where are you and Gunjan going to take it? What's next?
We're going to triple in size in the next couple of years.
Did you just come up with that, or do you have it written down? And
It's 2023, so we triple in 2023. That's the goal.
Well, it's 2024, bud.
Oh, 2024. Sorry. There we go.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Okay. All right. Lightning round. Networking event. You, Jon, you're always there. You're always taking pictures. I feel like I see you at all the networking events. I don't go to all of them, but the ones I do, you're there. Where do I need to go? What's coming up?
What's coming up? So if you go to utahbusinessevents.com, we try to track everything that is, we feel like, educational and non-salesy.
Okay.
So if someone's hosting an event that's specifically like to promote their own business, we don't include it. And then if you go to utahdevevents.com, that's another sheet that we put together that actually that's something that my mom helps with. And then we try to, again, just find ways to help or connect people in the ecosystem.
Love it. Love it. Any networking events that you're going to be hosting that we should know about?
Gunjan?
she's asking you the question.
Okay, so with the Venture Capital Podcast, we are going to start our first event in Utah called the VCP 100 Utah Edition, where we help highlight and honor the top 100 founders that VCs must watch that live in Utah. And we are doing that event in June. So right now there's an online voting competition that's getting hundreds of votes. And we need to recirculate.
Are you keeping everything consolidated to that post? Because I need to help recirculate that, right? Is that how you're
doing that post and others? So if you go to Venture Capital, www.venturecapital.fm, there's a bar at the top that says vote. Okay. And so you click on that, and wherever that takes you is where we're recording it.
Okay. We're at the 24-minute mark. I'll make sure to tag that. Gunjan, are you going to do anything to make that kind of a national growing organization? Give me some insight. I know I'm talking too much, but tell me.
Not at all. You're not. I'm, of course, we're tag teaming on that too. Like we did on AI Utah 100 at the beginning of the year. That was one of the first networking events for the AI community that we had done. And I love how my husband just starts 100 fires at one point of time, and he's like, now go take care of them. So AI Utah 100 was one of those. By the time I came back for the Christmas vacations, I was like, oh, like the deadline is here. So I
this
came
is a
in and rolled
dumpster
up my-
fire. What is this?
I wouldn't lie. It wasn't too far from that. So I was like, okay, we're
I
going to
focus under pressure.
Yeah.
So like when I have pressure is when my ADHD mind can move.
Yes, and that's how the vibe stays under pressure all the time. And I think my goals look like, and somebody who was the person who had said John is a visionary, Matthew Cox. I think?
Yeah,
Um,
Matthew said that.
Cox. And he said he's a visionary, and he really is. John is the visionary. He totally is. But the problem with being a visionary is that you have too many visions. You wake up one morning and you're like, I'm going to do 100 things. And then, but who's going to do them? Because he doesn't have the, I want to be polite about this, but he doesn't have the patience to see the end of it. Like,
Emily, want to hear
I
my
think-
next idea?
Say it.
Yeah, like he's ready with his next idea.
We should do this with you. So I think Silicon Slopes and the Women Tech Council should hold a tech job fair 2 to 4 times a year.
At least, yeah, absolutely. And you should get jobs on the spot.
So I've already been reaching out to both those organizations to kind of navigate like how we can work, and I think all the proceeds should go back to those organizations.
Gunjan, are you taking note? Because we all know that.
No, that's not no. So at Codebase, there's a new rule, is that I want Gunjan to emulate the things that I'm doing, but I don't want her to be my cleanup crew.
Good, absolutely.
That's very important. So the big push is
she should be like, I'm telling you. I mean, Gunjan, you are such a publicist at heart. You like you are the brand, you're the vision. Like, I know John can come up with the ideas, but like you can talk about it in a way that resonates, I think, with more people. And I hope you own that, because I totally agree. Do not be John's cleanup crew. Thank you, John, for saying that, because
I appreciate
he has to go in and put all the details after you come up with these ideas. We're just going to have to get you guys some VAs or something.
True that.
Right? But
I don't mind being the cleanup girl for as long as I need to be.
No,
I'm happy
not
to.
the cleanup person.
Well, it's
some people
entrepreneur spirit. Whatever it takes,
I think
right?
different people like focus on different things, and I think Gunjan, it would be a waste to put her in the closet to clean up my messes.
That's right.
It'd be a shame.
That's right.
Yeah.
You clean up your own mess, dude.
Also, it's 2024. If anything, I should clean up her messes. It's time to have the sexes and roles reversed.
That's right. We're just now getting to the good stuff. My husband's going to jump on here in a minute, start clapping and speaking up.
Shut up, John. Don't say these things.
No, my poor husband. I'm the type of person that will just do it, and people are like, what did you like? I don't know. I didn't ask him. That's the worst. I really enjoyed this time. Clearly, I told you guys 20 minutes, and here we are topping 30 minutes. Gunjan, I'm going to let you get to bed. Thank you for staying up late with us across the world to make this happen and be here, and let me know what I can do to cheer you on. John, keep coming up with great ideas. I'll support and help any way I can. I think you guys are doing incredible things. I appreciate each of you and your time today. Bye,
Thank you so much for having us on the Sweet Tea podcast.
Absolutely.
With Emily.
Thank you, Emily. Go, Emily!